Hello, in this lecture we will take a look at the bindings, at some very basic bindings, and we will get started with this section, which will in time become quite complex, and alongside all that I will be explaining why this may be useful and why this may not be useful. So you'll either have to use it or not use it. You don't always have to use this, although online, if you search for it, the trend is to type this up and see it as something terribly glorious related to Xamarin and just in general to application development. But if you have a small application or something very simple, this is not always necessary, nor it is useful. So let's take a look at how you would bind some text from an editor to a label, okay, to a label. So from one element to the other in XAML, completely in XAML, nothing in C# code. Although it's not always going to be that way, in the next lectures we will need to get into C#. But this is how you would do that, completely in XAML. So here we have an editor, okay, we have a name, and normally what you would do would create some kind of an event, some kind of a method for an event, okay, and you would assign that event handler, and everything would work perfectly. Say on button click, the contents of this editor would go into that label. So you would have name for the editor and name for the label, okay, and you would just assign it like that. But what if you want to just display it with no input, with no nothing? Of course, you can create an event where you would simply look for on change event or something similar, and then you would assign that value to the label. But there is a more straightforward way, and that is to do these bindings. So first of all, in the target label, you need to set the binding context. Okay, you set the binding context, and for elements, if you bind with elements, you would use X reference like that. You see, in these curly braces, so binding context equals and quotation marks, you have curly braces, and then X reference. You reference the name. As you can see, it matches all that. You have X name, and here you have X reference, and then the name for the reference, in this case editor 1. Okay, so that's our binding context. That is what this label is binded to. Okay, that's all.